Remember this Peavey Classic Series 5050. We looked at this a few weeks ago, and I'm going to get this fixed up. We're not going to go mad on it because it's not worth a hell of a lot of money. It's shop stock, so we're just going to get this running and sorted. So we're going to do a quick recap on it, and if you remember, one of the channels was running away, one of the L84s was running away, so we're going to have a look at that as well, just to see what's going on there. And that's about it really. Just going to get this so it's suitable for selling and it's reliable. Right, so I've got to get this board out. I've got some caps here, we'll look at those in a minute, but we've got to get this board out. So I've took the knobs off, we've got some nuts there. Let's have a nosy inside here. Just go on to manual focus. So we've got 4 caps to replace there and 2 more here. We've got to get this board out. So to do that, well, first we've got to get the nuts on the front. We've got a couple of plugs here, plug there, 2 plugs here, 2 more in the middle of those 2, another one on the end there, and then we've got some fixing screws there, another one there, another one there. We need to get this cover off as well to get to these tubes. We need to lift that whole board out, and then we can just recap it. The bottom does not come off this, which is a bit of a shame. If they'd have made it, or even just made a patch that you could get the bottom, just where the board is, but they haven't. So anyway, we've got to get the board out. But that's no big deal. We'll get on with that and take the board out, check everything that's in there, check the fuses. Usual deal on this. Don't quite know what we're going to put through this to test it though, because I've got no preamps. So I'll have to have a think about that one. Right, I've got 3 of these off. Somebody's had the cover off and they've smoked the screw. They've had the wrong screwdriver in it and swaged it, I'm afraid. So we're going to have a bit of a job getting that out now. But I'm sure we'll manage it, the bolts as well. Let's try this machine. See if this guy will do it. No. He didn't knew. So we've got to try and get him out somehow. So maybe we'll have to revert to the slot. Sorry if I've caught the camera there with my arm, but you can't see anything. That's a bit of a problem, so I'm going to have to just move the camera and get into that a bit more, because I can't quite get it leaning over. There he is, and you can see he's also loose, so he's been cross-threaded in there, I think, and they've obviously stripped off the stripped of the bolt, stripped it always. Right, I've got that cover off now. It wasn't too bad in the end. These look like JJ's. Boy, this is a bit of a flimsy setup. That's just riveted onto the board, or the brackets are, and then there's just screws in at the bottom. So I've got to be a bit careful with that. I mean, it's not so bad when the cover's on it. Now, one of these tubes is running away, and, or we think it is, and I can't really remember which side it was, but that looks like it's had some swage, because we go by the colour of the paint. So what we're looking for is if one at some time has red plated, and therefore the writing on the tube will be a different colour, either a very dark red or white. Well, everything looks right on that channel, doesn't it? But we're going to have to get those out to get to the others. So let's have a look at this one. He looks okay. He's a lumberjack. I think we need to clean this board as well because it's covered in dust. And that looks okay. And so does that, really. So there's no, just looking at the paint, you know, and inside I can't see any burnage inside or anything. So I don't know. Oh, hang on. The getter's gone on that one. Is it? Yeah. Yeah, the getter's gone. So that one's gone gassy, or it's got air in it. Yeah. So it's probably that one then that's causing the problems. That came out the bottom lot. So I think he's no good. We'll get the tube tester on those, but and we'll put them in order as they came out. Like so. There, so we can see those clearly, we know where they are, and we'll put that tube shield in between them. Caps have been glued in with some gumption, so we don't know how strong that is. So I thought this won't take me long to fix this, and beginning to wonder now looking at it. So let's start removing these. Ouch, my thumb. There, it's pretty elementary where most of these go. There. Yep. Well, that one's got 3 on, so we're not going to make mistakes there. And we've got one here. That one's out. Like so. And then we've got these 2 here. Another one here. And that's good. And then we've got one there. So we'll take that one out. Once we get the board out, we can do a bit of testing, can't we? And have a nosy at what's what. Wow. That one. That one. Another one there. Like so. And then we've got 2 more here. These are the inputs by the look of it. Oh. Now, for anybody who's recently watching the channel, I've got osteoarthritis in my thumbs, which is not great for a guitar player. I've actually had them x-rayed, and they're very painful at times. And it's usually just pulling clips off and things like that, these plugs and so on. But anyway, they're all off now. Let's get these, because I've turned it round now so we could see the tubes there. Let's turn it round, get the nuts off the front, and then we can get these screws out of the board, lift this out, and then we can have a good look at it. Right, the board's out, and how I did that, I lifted it out that way, came out that way. So yeah, it's out. So let's have a look at those on there. You can see, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 resistors there, 100 ohm resistors, flat on the board, and a relay there. So you can see here how this has been fastened onto the board there with the pot rivet and so on. Same on the other side. You can see the ribbons, very Fenderish. And we've got the 4 caps. Now that glue looks a bit worrying, so I'm just going to give that a little stab with the screwdriver and see how soft it is. And I don't know, we might be okay with that. So yeah, you can see the board there, just home and back, so you can see it all in its entirety. Let's have a look at the bottom on there. Has anybody been at it? No, there's odd scratches on there, bits and bobs. Right, so I've got the schematic for it, and I remember looking at this now. Repaired that many amps lately, and I've got that much stuff going on, what with my dad and everything. I just forget things. But as soon as I looked, I realised, I just remembered. So this amp is fixed bias. You can see there the cathodes are connected there, and there, and you can see they're going to ground there. So, and you can see here where it says bias on there, just on the edge. So if we go down, and the power supply, supply here. So we'll bring that in, and we can see bias there, and we can see the let's just go into manual focus, and we can see we've got a 47k resistor to ground. So if we did have to change the bias for any reason, that would be the go-to. That 2200 is here. I thought that would be on the filaments, but it's not. It's all to do with this valve relay. That's that relay on the board where that's going there by the look of it. And yeah, all the bias circuit here and so on. We've got a cap there, C110, but it doesn't give a value, so we'll have to look at that as well. On there, let's look at the power supply. Here, just got a bridge rectifier. Here's the filaments coming out there. And we've got a capacitor there. I think that's 100 at 25. We'll have to check that as well. Filament A, filament B. So we'll have to just, well, that should be okay. I don't think there's a problem with the filaments. It's just a matter of recapping this. We're not going to go mad on this because, as I say, it simply is, you know, they don't fetch a lot of money, these, and obviously we just want to make it right. You know, I'm not going to do a complete restore on this. I'm just going to make it right. Right, so getting these caps out on here, and I've cut the, because the glue is really tough, so I've cut the plastic off there and then just pulled the cap out. Little tip somebody gave me on the channel a good while ago for getting these out, and then if you hold the board firm, well, the other one just came straight off there. You can see now we can just peel that off with patience, and it should nearly off. Like on this stuff, tough glue, and you can see now we've got that out there. So that's a good way of getting those off. Very good way. Getting the glue off, of course, may be a bit more of a problem. I don't know. Right, I'm to get this last one off. Right, there we go. I'll just put manual focus on so you can see it a bit clearer. So there we go, all clean. You can see that's pretty clean now. I can almost see my face in that. Quick, dirty it back up again. So yes, that's looking most delightful. There, cleaned all the flux off the bottom. I've got the, you can just see there, I've got the caps pins out there. Clean those up. So we're ready to put the components back in. Just look here though. So they put some jumpers to get over that trace at the back there, which is grand. And they stuck the glue over them. So these were all crumpled when I pulled it off. No, I just didn't realise they was there. And I've just widened them out a bit. Two of them, just spaced them out. Right, there we are. That's now recapped. And these Elam caps, these are the caps here. I've tested these, and these are really good caps. And in fact, they're tested as good as the F&Ts. I know, obviously, I wouldn't put these in somebody's vintage Fender amp, but they're certainly good enough for this power amp. And yeah, they test really good. So those have gone in. I've cleaned all the sockets with alcohol. Obviously the board's clean now, and if we look on the back, and you can't even see where I've been. So that's how we do that. Now the only thing that's getting to me are these screen resistors sat on the board, and whilst I mean the board's not burnt at all or anything, normally I would change those, but I'm reluctant to tackle that, and the reason is these ribbons these, you know, if these ribbons fracture, I'm going to be in a world of pain with this amp. And to be fair, I didn't put those in there like that. So I think on this occasion I'm going to leave those. I wouldn't normally. And you can see here where I've put the caps in, you can see those jumpers now going across there. And obviously they'd put so much gumption in here. Let me just put a light on. That's it, we can see better now. So you can see those there, and obviously they were crunched together when obviously the glues, when I pulled the glue, it's crunched them together, and it's now left them not straight. And somebody's going to think I've done that because put the caps in. So yeah, but I had to space them apart, so obviously they're never going to be straight again. But that's with the glue all over them. Why? I've mounted these on some electrical silicone and absolutely fine, you know, no problems. And that's much tidier. Right, so I'm just going to hoover this out, and I'll just, obviously the first thing when you think of hoovering in here is the fan, and it seems like Billy Bodger's been at the fan. So don't quite know what's going on there. It looks like that's been tacked on to the voltage selector. Yep, so it's a bit cheesy in there, so I think we'll get that cleaned off. So I've got the board back in, everything's connected back up. We cleaned the fan out. Had to get a bit of alcohol on his blades as well. He was a bit mucky in there. Got all the dust out. Got all the dust out of here. Board's nice and clean. New caps. I put the tubes back in, but only because these are 12ATs, 2 are 12Xs. So just I put them in. We're going to test them. I've just put them in so I know where they are and where they go and things. Had a look on the schematic about the fan connections. There's nothing on there. There is a layout diagram though, but there's nothing on there about the fan. So let's test the tubes now, have a look at those and see what we get, what results we get with that. In fact, what time is it now? It's 7:20. So I think I'm going to go off and have some dinner, cook some dinner, and then we'll return on the night shift. Although one could argue we're already on the night shift. We'll pop back on the night shift, we'll get the tubes tested, bang the tubes in it, and test these, bang them back in, and then we'll fire it up. I need to find a tube to replace that one as well that's gone to air, because that's certainly no good, and that's probably why we've got problems. And then we just need to test it. We just need to make sure that you know, there's no runaway on the tubes or anything, and then it should be good to go. And then what we'll do is we'll test for this wires for this fan, and then we can put the lid on it. Testing it though with the guitar, I'm still trying to think what I'm going to use for this amp. What I've got that I can plug into it. I don't really have any pedals either. I've got an effects board that's packed away with my gigging gear, so we might have to get that out. Right, tested all the tubes. I've got 2 that are in the bad, and all the others around about 65%, 65%, sorry. So that one's had it. These tubes have had some serious voltage on them. You don't often see these EL84s like this, and if you don't abuse them, they last years. But these have been baked to get, you know, they've had, and I dare say there's a lot of plate voltage on that amp, and we'll check it to see. So yeah, I found two that are no good, and then I've got one more here to test. And the one that's gone to air, that just about gets into the green, but obviously there's no way we're putting that back in. So yeah, tired old tubes, those are, and this one's the same. It's coming up like yeah, and that one's just going to make 60, I think. This tube test is a little bit down on the dial, so yeah, 65 again. So they've got a bit of life in them, but probably about a year's worth. but I wouldn't think much more in that amp than this Peavey. So I've got another JJ here, second hand one, and we're going to stick this in, and I'm hoping this, I've got two of these and they're not new, but I'm hoping they're going to suffice for this amp, because as I said, it is a bit of a budget repair. Oh, and you can see that one, look, that one, yeah, is straight up there to 65, so that's a good tube. Now let's try the other one. And yeah, I know we're not going to be able to match these tubes, but it is what it is, you know. This amp, by the time repairs have been paid for, the caps have been paid for, and then a new set of tubes on that, the amp's not worth the, you know, the price of the tubes and the repair. So these three tubes here, that one's gone to air, these two are just tired out, so we need to find something else to go with those, don't we? Right, I've got this all finished, and I've changed the coupling caps to the output tubes, and I should have done that when I had the board out first time, although it only took me 5 minutes to get the board out. Once you've done it once, it's pretty easy. But yes, so they've been changed, and things calmed down as soon as we changed those. I'll just manual focus on that, and they do say OIC on them, so I don't know, maybe they weren't very good caps when they were put in, but immediately after those were changed, everything seemed to settle down. It's not running away now, it's running nice and stable. It's been on test now for above half an hour, and it's doing really well. So we've got the tubes balanced up nicely. I've got the fan running as well there, got the cable down there. Now the fan has been connected to this grey connection here, and this black connection here coming from the transformer. There's about 215 volts on those, so I've got the fan running on those, and it's running really nice. And obviously not running it at full voltage will make it a little quieter. So now we come to the bias. So channel 1, which are these block of 4 tubes here, and I've just named them off the wire that's connected to the plates, brown and blue. So brown, which is these two here, up and down, not across as I originally thought, is 8.8 watts on this side, so we're at 0.4 over. On the other side, that's these two, up and down, we've got 8.4, so that's absolutely on the nose. Remember, 70% of 12 watts is 8.4. And if we move on to channel 2, so that's the brown wire in the plug, which is these two up and down, and that is 8 watts. And then the other two, which is blue up and down on channel 2, 8.6 watts. So that is a good enough match for this amp, considering we've done that out of various second-hand tubes that we've got. So that's all finished now, so let's just recap what we've done. Keep saying that. We've changed the main electrolytics here and here, you can just see those on screen. We've cleaned all this board up because it was filthy, and it looks really nice now, really nice and clean. We've got rid of all that horrible gunk that had spilled out from around these capacitors, the glue, which had buried these jumpers here, which has ended up with those being, as I said, slightly bent now. The fan wasn't connected up, so we've connected up the fan. We found some decent tubes. Remember, it was running away, and that's another thing as well. So I haven't worked on this over the weekend, I've been busy gigging and one thing or another. Came to it this morning, switched it on, one of those, remember there was 8 JJs, another one of those JJs just ended up with a heat cathode short, was flashing away with merriment in there. But luckily I started it on the bulbs, as I always do, and yeah, the bulbs were flashing like waltz disco. That's what happens when you hammer these tubes with high voltage. They usually just fail after a short period of time. But there we go. So we'll get the lid on it, and we better find something now to plug into it so we can give it a demo, I think. Right, I've got this Peavey Classic 5050 plugged in, and I've got the Boss ME80 you can see here on the floor. So we're going to have a listen. This guitar is still tuned in E flat from the weekend. Reason I had the lurgy the week previous, the singer's had some lurgy, so we tuned down a semitone. It just makes it a bit easier on her voice and mine as well. Although I'm fighting fit again, and I haven't tuned it up to concert pitch. So we'll just so I just use this Boss ME80 on stage. It's quick and easy. You know, it's just a covers band. We go out and make money. Very simple. It's laid out just like normal pedals, really. If I was playing in a blues band, I'd probably use it. But anyway, we'll have a listen. I've got both channels on this cabinet, by the way. It's a stereo cabinet, it's Marshall one. Actually used 4 patches on this, four settings, which is chorus, and then I've got just a slapback delay, that's just reverb, and an overdrive, which is obviously tailored for my amplifiers and not this power amp, so it sounds a little bit growly through here. And there's plenty of other patches in it. You don't very often hear me using effects, do you? Unless there's reverb on the amp, and I'll use that. So you can hear that. I've got this now at room volume, and you can hear the fan. Don't know if you can hear it on the camera. And I'd imagine if that was running at full voltage, it would be quite a bit louder. First time I've heard this in stereo actually. You probably can't, obviously won't be able to tell that on the camera, but it works pretty well. Get a little bit warm, it's fairly cool, the fan's keeping it cool. Let's try the overdrive. I've got quite a lot of presence in there. If I put full presence in on both channels, so when I use these effects, I don't use the preamp in this ME80. I just use the effects, so I find I've got to wind quite a bit of treble on here. This resonance, not sure quite what that does. Not much of anything really. Running pretty nice. Let's have a bit of a fiddle around with this this contraption then. So let's go up to bank 2. Let's go to like a compressor. Today, that by gum, feels like it's elastic. Let's see what else we've got then. We've got an octave. So it's funny when I work with sounds, effects and whatever, I tend to adapt my guitar playing to just certain effects. I've always done that, I don't know why, so we've got What else we've got? Just a fiery overdrive there. And hear the stereo. Try this one. And so on. I mean, there must be there's just loads of patches and things in here. And what's this? Some serious overdrive. I must have, I've had this thing a couple of years now at least, if not more, and I just never use more than those 4 patches. It's just some of them are just Terrible, to be quite honest. And I suppose you know, you've just got to set them up. It's just bank after bank of dear oh dear, that's a bit bright. And what else we got? Copious amounts of overdrive. Crazy. Enough of that messing around. Dear oh dearie me. When I was young, I used to spend hours playing around with these things. Of course, it was all rack mount in those days. You used to have a MIDI board, and it was all in racks, and with these power amps as well. This was probably in a setup similar to that many years ago. I think the Schematic's about 1992 on there. So there we go, that'll do it for this one. Bit of a strange video there, testing that, but we've really got nothing else to test it with, so we decided to use the waffle board, as I like to call it when I'm flicking through all those patches, the waffle board, the Boss waffle board, and some very rusty guitar playing, and I was even struggling to hold the plectrum a bit there. This thumb is not good at the moment, but I shall work on it. Anyway, that'll do it for this one, so thanks for watching, you all take care, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye for now.